the bottom of the list, you're going to find this very interesting. So I went around the office, and I know a lot of you people, everyone in here is like, oh gosh, here she comes again. I went around to most people and said, can I look at your computer? What do you guys do for a database? And so all of this is in our office, also Jana Section. There is one agent that runs your business from memory. Don't want to say who. Yeah, no. And at some point, we all do this on a daily basis. We've got little scraps of paper, we're in our car, we're looking for a napkin, we write on it, until we can get back and do something with it. We make up a file. We'll talk about Excel spreadsheets. Some people, oh, I know. So before we had Excel, this is how I used to keep track of my buyers and sellers. Here's some old label that was stuck in the drawer. Here's real life. This is what we are. We all do the same thing. We all pretty much run our business the same way. Here's my buyers, here's my sellers. I found this in a folder from 2005. So I saved every scrap of paper. Right? I guess it says February 2006. It was in the spring market, and it just got fast and furious, and it's like, I don't have time to go in and type all my stuff, and so I'm just flying with a piece of paper trying to keep track, so I make sure I've got a listing appointment or a buyer appointment to write something out. If you operate your business on one piece of paper, that's okay. As we probably went through March and April until it kind of went like this, went back down again, I just started handwriting, scratching out people, adding people, but that system worked okay until I could get back and function, because I don't want to get stuck behind a computer. Whiteboard would be like this. There's some agents in our office that have a whiteboard, and they have buyers, sellers, when's it closing, and that's how they track it, because they're probably more visual, and that works also. Smartphones we talked about, those will keep you organized, has your database in it, so if you are on vacation, you're ready to go. Piles of papers and notes. I remember, I don't know if everyone remembers Bill Duplain. He had piles and piles. I think there's one more agent in our office, but I won't say who has piles and piles and piles, and has for many years. Well, I'm sure that person knows exactly what's in every pile. They are organized. That works for them. We all have to function at some level. Number 7, file cards in a recipe box. That person's been using that system, gosh, I'm thinking probably 18 or 19 years. Works for that person. My hat's off to that person. So I went to her and I said, so have you thought about putting your file cards and typing them into a database system? And she said, well, I do have it in a database system, but it's stuck in the CPU underneath the desk. And I said, well, how come it's stuck? And she said, well, because her monitor broke, her keyboard broke, so all she had left was the CPU that had power to it. She can't get the information back out of it, so her default was to go back to using the recipe card box, which she kept. That works. I said, well, Brian could probably help it, and said, pull that information back out, which would be exporting, and we can import it into someplace else. So, great office. I love our office. A couple other systems I've used. Before I used Outlook, was I used Act. Other people use Gold Money. Their systems, their software that you buy. The day timer system. There's a couple agents in our office that still use that, and they are highly successful with that because they need to see something visual. They're constantly writing in it. They keep their money in there. They keep their credit card and their ID, and that's their wallet. We won't say who that is either. Jana Section web server in the cloud. So everyone look at that and get your email off of it. There is a contact management system in there. You can put your contacts in there. I have not had great success getting my people out of it. So if I want to get my Christmas calendar list, I would not be able to go into Jana Section, get all my people that I send calendars to, print out labels, and mail them. So that's why I choose the software Outlook that resides on my computer. got my Google database in Droid, that's just my backup. And an agent in our office uses Top Producer, went in, took a look at it. I think that Jane is the fee $60 a month, right around there. Excellent system. It tracks pretty much, she's using her database system the same way I am, except it tracks her expenses, and I just kind of went, wow, that's really cool. Don't quit using it. Works for you. You got it. I say stay with it. My Outlook does a couple other different functions, but that's how I choose to use it to work my database. Which I looked in Top Producer, it didn't have a place for categories. And so if I want my Christmas calendar list, I couldn't find out where that category would be in Top Producer. I'm sure if I worked with it, I could probably create one, and there it would go. So, choose your database system, just use one. Any questions so far? Yes?
Does Outlook have a way to track your expenses? Can you use Outlook to do that also to Top Producer?
So Outlook is a Microsoft product, and so you can use any other Microsoft product, Excel, PowerPoint. You can take the information, save it, export it into QuickBooks, if you want to do that. The day planner system on the very bottom left part of it, it has a spot for your expenses, tracking your mileage. Any system works, but you just have to use it consistently. Yeah, but probably the most important thing is that I have found going away from a written system, going very high tech has just freed up so much time. I can do more volume listings, more volume buyers by not having everything written. Because it's usually at my house and I'm at work and I need it, now I gotta run home and get it, so it works better. So we're going to take a look at using Outlook. Outlook, so we all use, so it's like, okay, Jane calls me, she says, Jana, I want to buy a house. I say, okay, great, Jane. I immediately put her in Outlook. I make up a folder. Her name goes here. Always goes in my drawer. But in Outlook, I type her name, address, phone number, syncs with my phone. If I'm out on the road, I can look up Jane, push send, and it calls her cell phone, calls her home, calls whatever number her office number, so that makes it very efficient. Because my folder is always in my desk. When I type it in Outlook, one of the first things that I do is that I'll print. Here's the Outlook page. Typed it in, printed it, boom, in the drawer, synced with my phone. I'm out the door in less than 5 minutes. I'm off to a different appointment. I've got it in my calendar to call her at 5 o'clock. I'm really functioning high on my day for doing more business. So we're going to look at Frank's letting me use his Outlook because he's an Outlook power user also. So for Jane, I would have created a category. She's a real estate agent. She's a future buyer, or she's a current buyer. Maybe she wants to list her house with me. Maybe she's an investor. Maybe she's in my book club. Maybe I want to send her a calendar, so I keep track of each person with the category. So anyway, pretty much does everybody use file folders, keep track of their buyers? Anybody use anything different? No? Okay. Oh boy, can you guys read that? Is that really blurry?
Not a chance.
Oh no, okay. So,
Just blame it on a bunch of bad eyes.
I know. So here's my so you guys all know that this is an Outlook database. Here's my categories right here. So this particular person, I changed his name. Here's his company, job title, email, all the phone numbers, address. Here's all my notes. Here's something really cool about Outlook. This is, he's an investor being Rich Island. He's bought and sold very many houses from me for years. And so if I know he's calling, of course his name comes up on my phone display, Jim Smith. If I haven't talked with him in a while, I cannot take the call. I can go into my database and say, oh yeah, he's the guy knock $100,000 off in 6 years. I listed something, he bought it. I listed something, he bought it. He rehabbed it, he turned it listed, and somebody else sold it. I keep track of it that way. He's a very valuable client. He's a repeat. He refers. I like to keep track of who my people are. If I'm over in Hawaii, I can just glance and say, oh yeah, he bought the house on Meadowmere on Bainbridge Island. And so I'm instantly refreshed. I call the person back. He thinks, wow, you've got a great memory. Not really. So anyway, we'll get into it here. So the more I touch my database, the more that I am looking at my current buyers, future listings, current listings, the more I touch it, the more volume that I do. So you can turn up the volume. You know, it can be a slow waltz. You know, if you only want to work a couple days a week, you can do a steady rock and roll, 30 hours a week, which is what I would call rock and roll. Or you can dance like no one's watching. You could work 60 to 80 hours a week if you want. So you can turn it up, turn it down. If you're leaving for a couple months, you can turn it down. If you really want, you've got something coming up where you need a lot of money for, you can really jazz up the business and boom, you can produce some income.
Jana,
Yes?
on that other page where you had all the past things that you did with your client,
This one? The notes?
yeah, is that just the regular Outlook?
Yeah.
Is that what I have? So if I were to put that in there, is that how it can? Do you have to do anything different to make that all, or you just have to input all the years of work with him, so to speak?
So right here are my notes. So these,
Yeah.
this is, right here, this is April 1st, 2005.
Okay.
You know, I've got notes. There's stuff all over the place. Here's one from 2000, the year 2000. So over the years, because I've kept a consistent database, my notes just start accumulating, and it's very valuable to me.
So impressive.
And I can print this. So let's say he calls me up and says, hey, I want to buy something downtown Hallsville. I can go in, print this up, put it in my folder. Out the door I go, because I just printed out some listings, and boom. He'll go, remember that house that I bought down in Port Orchard? Oh yeah, here it is in my notes. He's really smart.
Sweet.
Yeah, what?
Is that a picture of it?
Right here is a picture of my listing.
Oh, you're listening, okay.
So Outlook 2007 has a little spot where you can put in a JPEG. It shows up on Facebook, shows up on your Droid phone, shows up on your iPhone if your database is merged. So when my phone's ringing, Brian's calling me, picture of Brian, his phone number. What do you mean, Facebook? Facebook? Yes, I have Facebook syncing with my database in my Gmail. Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff.
As
You just
Brian
have to
updates his photo on
That's right.
Facebook, it changes on your phone.
If you view this, your contact page from your smartphone, if you want to upload that.
Yep. Can. All depends which database. So on my smartphone, I could go into Outlook or I could go into Google.
Well, I know, like this page, because I can view my contacts, but
Right.
not this, like all the category information and notes and stuff.
You can. 2000 and, does anybody have Outlook 2003?
Yeah.
Okay, I know Brenna's here this morning. She helped us with some stuff that we're going to be giving out here in a little bit. Brenna from Stewart Title, I believe that you were using 2003, and I was showing her this. And I don't think that you could do the color categories up here. I think that you can do categories, but they probably come in one of these cells.
Yeah.
So you can still do it. You can still manipulate it.
Yeah, I do it, I
Yeah.
just can't, yeah.
I'm going to show you where we can, maybe I'll do that right.